All right, take me to work, but today I actually have to drive. With the Cybertruck, if the tailgate's open, it won't do the auto drive. So today it's human driving, but that's fine. Sometimes you gotta do that. Anyways, pretty relaxing weekend. Just did some. Pretty much took Friday off of work. We were gonna do something with the kids, but decided not to. I just kind of worked from home, and then Saturday we went boating, rafting, and kind of jetting around. Took my daughter, my son, 3 of his friends, and then me and the significant other all went. Just went out on the chain of lakes. It's kind of what we've been doing for the last 5 years. But yeah, it's been an interesting year on the water, on the chain, and you can tell things have changed since that boating accident. People are really, it affected a lot of people. It was really a tragedy, and it was a horrific way of dying, and it was the typical idiot villain who's rich spoiled kid from a rich family, has a toy and is irresponsible and ends up killing an innocent person and severely injuring another, and just completely ruining, people's lives. I mean, he's effed. I think he's gonna get in a lot of trouble. Now there's lawsuits that have come out. Basically the family of the woman who died are suing everybody I think they possibly can. I think there's gonna have some deep pockets there, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Supposedly the boat was registered in the family's company name, which is good for tax deductions, but not good for liability. So we'll have to see. But on the water, we had fun. We went rafting first, and then we went to a deeper part where dive off the boat and swim. Then we went to get lunch. We tried to go to Blarney's Island, but they had some thing going on where it's 21 and over, so we couldn't stay there. So I went to a bar called Captain's Quarters, which is one of our favorites. It's a pretty neat bar in the kind of middle of a neighborhood, middle of a trailer park kind of situation. Had lunch and then went to the shallow area, and then we had to drop my son off because he had to work. But fun times on the water, It's always a good day on the water. I got sunburned. I'm still sunburned 2 days later. But and then yesterday, my son had a scrimmage game. I guess they couldn't find another team to scrimmage, so they just kind of did an inter-squad scrimmage, which was okay. He didn't have his best game. I think he was tired because we did all the stuff Saturday, and then he worked, and then I think he had a friend sleep over. Or no, he didn't have a friend sleep over. He wanted to go to it was like a scrimmage fest type of thing, was all day, and we had a booth there. So we went there at like 7:30, 8 o'clock to set up, and he went so he was there all day, and then his scrimmage game wasn't until 4. So I think he's just tired and a little bit off. But, it's just weird circumstances in life, because he did so well at the first scrimmage. So obviously he's a starter, right? And then because they didn't have another team to scrimmage, they had to scrimmage each other. So what the coach did was just divided the team up. And he's got a backup quarterback. And the backup quarterback ended up performing pretty well. He had a touchdown pass, and he had one other pass, a couple good runs. I mean, so it's like, just that weird circumstance made it so now, okay, is there going to be a quarterback controversy? It's just ridiculous. And one interesting question is, my son was like, I just don't understand. I just can't tell when my receivers, I can't see when my receivers, or he said I couldn't see my receivers. And I said, because they weren't open. I mean, the touchdown pass that the other kid threw the dude was wide open. There's no one even by him. So, and I think, I'm not sure how they were doing it, how he divided the team up. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense. But anyways, it was an interesting day with all the crap I've had with that Junior Warrior football program. It's bittersweet. I love to see my son play. I love to see him do well, but I just don't like the program. I'm done with the people there. It's not the stuff they say to my face or do to my face, because they're all fine. That's just crap that they did to me over the years, the couple years I've coached. It's like every time I coached, it was like something just screwed up against me. So, anyways, last season, and then if my son says we want to do the flag, I'll do the flag, and he can get his little team together, and we'll do that. But that's just for fun, and then he'll be in high school. And I think maybe it won't be too bad if there is a little bit of a quarterback controversy and he has to step up and compete, because next year he's really going to have to compete, because there's another kid. So last year was a goofy year. I started out as the head coach of this one weight class, and we weren't good. And there's a bunch of reasons why we weren't any good, but it all falls on my shoulders, because you need to 100% take accountability for everything. So I take complete accountability for that team not being good. So we ended up going 0-4, and there was like a parent revolt, and they were all upset because the team was so negative and all this garbage that wasn't even true. It's just that we were losing, and and they thought I was favoring my son and stuff as the quarterback and this and that. It was just ridiculous, because there just wasn't anyone else that was a good quarterback. So we got to game 5, or before game 5, and the board and all their wisdom came out there, and just the one guy who was in charge of coaches just shit himself and just did a bunch of stupid shit. One of which was to put my assistant coach in charge of the offense to change it up. Well, that little scumbag ended up screwing me over and did a bunch of shit that was just stupid. And so game 5, oh no, it's game 6. After game 5, we were 0-5. After game 5, he changed everything up, and then a team we should have competed with, we got blown out 28-0. So it's like, and then there was a big blowout with the coaches. I was so pissed off that the guy just screwed everything up. And then the little parent revolt and the little assistant coach revolt joined forces, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and they ended up somehow getting me kicked off, even though there was nothing that I actually did. So they said I could stay on as the assistant coach. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, it was just so freaking stupid what they were saying. So I was like, I resigned, whatever. You know, you can't take a guy's team away from him and then say, oh, you can stay on as assistant coach to a couple of idiots. Just absolute fucking idiots that weren't, it wasn't even my choice. It was just because their kids weighed a certain thing and were a certain age, why they ended up coaching on my staff. And then they backstabbed me. And I found out that they had done it to another coach a couple years before. So there's like a pattern to these clowns. Anyways, both their kids are too small to play in high school, so we won't be seeing them. But so anyways, they got rid of me. Their little strategy worked. They got rid of me, and then the first thing they do is replace my son as a quarterback. And their replacement, who granted he's a good athlete, but he can't throw the ball with any accuracy. You know, he can throw it hard and far, but he has no accuracy. The kid throws 3 interceptions the first game, and we lose 28-0. And then the next game, which was a game that should have been winnable, and if we would have stuck on the plan and everything that we worked on, you know, developed it, fine-tuned it, I think we would have won that game, but they lost the game. And that kid was a quarterback, and he shit the bed. And then they played a team that was horrible. Like, they should have been on a lower level, but because our record was so bad and their record was the same, we played each other, because they kind of do that to help teams out that are struggling, and better teams play each other, and then worse teams play each other towards the end of the season. So we beat that team, and they made it seem like they just won the Super Bowl. Like, that's the way it should be, and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that team was just so bad. I mean, anyways, they won that game. They're all proud of themselves, right? And then the final game was the team that was playing to get into the playoffs, and totally lost to them. Wasn't even close. It's like, it just pissed me off, because they knew. The board knows exactly how things work. If your team's not that good, your schedule is going to get changed up, so you play other teams that aren't that good, and that's when you have a chance to win. And you only needed like 4 wins, or 3 or 4 wins to make the playoffs. I mean, it's pretty easy going, and then they seed you based on, you know, your ability and stuff. And then once you do that, you have a good chance of playing in the playoffs because of that. But because that one coach came in there and just changed everything up, renamed everything, even positions, the plays, everything. Little fucking clown. Seriously. Oh, just seriously. If he wasn't such a brunt and just a like afterbirth, I would hate the guy, but I just feel sorry for him because he's so miserable. Anyways, so that's the story of last year's football season. You know, and that was the second year in a row that's just weird controversy happened. The year before that, I figured my son would make, so there's 2 teams, and there's like a tryout, and my son didn't make the main team. And the coach that was coaching the main team said the reason why he didn't pick him, because they already had a kid that was a year older that was going to be the quarterback, and that he should play quarterback on the lower level to get experience. I didn't buy it. I'd rather see him be a backup quarterback and learn the position and compete on other things, but whatever. So I got put on this other team, and I thought it was a decent little team, you know. There was a couple good kids on there, and my son was a good quarterback, so I decided, you know, I coached flag the year before, or right before that, and I'm like, well, maybe I could do tackle. So I went out and I was going to be a helper, assistant coach. And then it ends up the guy who's coaching the team just had no idea what he was doing. Just no idea. And we just started, I think we went 0-4. Or we went 0-. Well, the first game we lost, okay? And it was kind of a weird situation. It was a really hot day. And the coach's wife had passed out in the stands. And he had to go take care of her. And so he gave me the play sheet. And he said, here, call the plays while I take care of my wife, right? And that was like in the middle of the first quarter. Or second quarter. It was the middle of the second quarter. So I called some plays. We were moving the ball. But our defense wasn't that good. And then I was trying to make play calls, and we had a couple plays that would work, but when it came down to it, we had like 4 plays, and it was like running the same plays over and over again. That defense was just keying on it, and they knew exactly what we were going to do. So I went back. It was a Memorial Day weekend, and I did a bunch of research on the offense we were running. It was a double wing offense, and came to the conclusion that power, which is like a middle of the line running play, was the key of that whole offense, and that should be your bread and butter. Power, 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 power. Try something else. Power, 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 counter. Power, 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 pass. Power, 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 sweep. So I came to the Monday practice, and it's a whole weird situation. I guess I'll tell it real quick. But so during the game, or after the game, one of the kids was upset and he threw his helmet, and they thought 2 kids threw their helmets. So that was a big controversy that happened, and some of the board members heard about it or saw it, and they were upset, and they came down. And so the head coach wasn't there. He had to be practice late. And so the board members came down and took 2 of the kids' helmets, which would mean in tackle football that you shouldn't be able to practice, right? So fine. And then we were standing there with the assistant coaches, and none of them knew what to do. So I said, well, I've got some new plays that we could work on. They said, yeah, let's do it. So we started working on the power. And it seemed to look pretty good. And then I knew the head coach was upset that those board members had come down and taken those kids' helmets. And he didn't say anything to me about anything with the practice or anything like that. He went up to the equipment area, and he ended up yelling at the board members, getting in a fight with them, and then he left. Well, the next day I get a text from the president of the board. Is there a problem on your team? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, are you talking about the helmets? He goes, no, that should be taken care of. He goes, there's a problem with the coaches. And then it ends up in this group text with the other coach, and he starts going off about how I overcoach him and I'm trying to take the team and all this other stuff, and I'm like, oh my God. But anyways, we went back and forth, and he ends up having like a meltdown, and he does not want me on his coaching staff and blah, blah, blah. So I basically, every time I've kind of done I backed down. I said, well, fine, whatever. So for 3 games, I was just a dad, and I went to the games. And for 3 games, we lost and looked bad. And then the guy in the 4th game, he ended up having a total mental breakdown. He was the stepdad of a kid who kind of had some behavioral issues, but I always got along with the kid. I thought he was a good kid. But he ends up getting in a huge fight during a game, ripping the kid's jersey off, yelling and screaming. The real dad, the biological dad, came up and was yelling and screaming, The mom came up calling the real dad a piece of shit. I mean, it was just this whole clown act, and it was just insane. Well, they ended up finally doing something and getting rid of that guy. And then another guy took over, one of the assistant coaches, and he contacted me. He said, would you come back and run the offense? And I'm like, I would love to. So I came back, and we just worked on the power, and we worked on some plays, and we came back the first game playing a decent team, not the best team, but they were decent. And we ended up almost winning the game. It looked like we had won the game, but there's one play where, so we threw a touchdown pass, boom, touchdown. Then we came back, and you could do what was an onside kick, but the way to do the onside kick was you needed to get 15 yards. Okay, one play to get 15 yards, and then you got the first down. Well, we did that, and actually it was another touchdown pass, and the kid went for a touchdown. But the rule is you only get the 15 yards and you get the ball. So we ended up getting the ball, and then I was going to go back to that same play, but first I was going to kind of do a pass to the right side to kind of throw them off, make them think that, okay, we're going to go somewhere else. So we ended up doing it, and my son kind of messed up, and he threw an interception. And so we ended up losing that game, but it was close. It was exciting. Everybody was in it. And then we ended up winning, and we ended up, while I was coaching, 4-2. And then I looked like I was going to be the next hot coach, right? And then I did flag again, and our flag team was decent. And then I did everything I needed to do, like you would do if you wanted to get the job. I went to all the trainings, I went to all the meetings, I did all the stuff that you needed to do, and I was ready for it. And they made me the head coach of the main team. And I don't know what went wrong. I built up that team. I thought the team was going to be good. I thought it was great because I had coaches that I coached before. It ended up the coaches sucked. It ended up the kids were slow, and I don't know. When I look back at that team, I just don't understand why we weren't better. We did play a lot of good teams, and there was really strong competition. But it was like we didn't have a runner that could break a tackle. It was like as soon as the first guy touched him, he went down. And I had 3 or 4 running backs, and they all did the same thing. When we passed, we did okay. And so my whole thing, the reason why I coached flag was to practice the plays that we were going to put in during tackle. But then all the kids got messed up because of weights and everything like that, and ages, and my flag kids, I only had a couple of the flag kids. So it didn't end up happening where I got to do my offense, because they had a new high school coach, and they always tried to do the high school coach's offense, and it wasn't really a passing offense. So I learned everything I could about that offense, and I don't know. Anyways, just thinking about it, and the thing was I learned a lot of lessons that year, last year. And the thing was they totally passed me by for even an assistant coach this year. No one even contacted me, and they needed coaches. They needed one more coach at the level that I would have been a coach at, and they didn't even contact me because I'm such a controversial individual. Just ridiculous. And then the whole flag thing, I'll talk about another time. I'm gonna end this here because I gotta get in. But anyways, a lesson for today is, I don't know. Analyze your life. Try to make changes. Try to get better. Try to live your life where other people don't control what you do. And I don't know. Live life to the fullest. How's that?